If you have been thinking about becoming a doula, you might be feeling a little confused, maybe overwhelmed with the options that are in front of you, potentially even a little intimidated. So this will be a bit of a guide to help make this transition easier for you so that you can find a training that really fits your life, your personality, and the kind of doula that you want to be. My name's Michelle, and I am the founder of By the Moon, a holistic full-spectrum doula training school. We also have a holistic reproductive practitioner training program that combines doula training with reflexology and Reiki. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this video. But right now, let's focus on the path that is potentially ahead of you and how to narrow it down to find what will fit you best. We'll briefly talk about what a doula is. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because you probably already have gotten that far if you're now thinking about becoming a doula. But just to make sure it's clear, a doula is a non-clinical support person. Traditionally, the original doulas were focused mostly on birth, but over my career, I have seen doula work expand to cover other transitions in life as well. But what's important to know is the non-clinical part. So doulas are not medical care providers. We almost always work alongside medical care providers. So the doula role is non-clinical. We provide emotional support. We help people navigate information so that they can make informed choices. We support people in advocating for themselves when they're navigating the options that are available to them during these transitions. And we provide physical support. So that can look like comfort measures, making sure people are well hydrated and fed during things like birth, or educating them on nutrition and things like that on their fertility journeys, for example. So we're non-clinical care providers, usually around pregnancy, birth, but also expanding into the postpartum time, loss, and even in recent years, fertility work has become an important part of the doula role. And now you'll even see there are death doulas and things like that. I'm going to focus on the reproductive kind of doulas, so from the fertility through loss transitions of life. So I guess that's where we'll start. If you are thinking about becoming a doula, it's important that you first put some thought into what kind of a doula do you want to be? What transitions in life do you want to be present with people for? Do you want to be a fertility doula who helps people while they're trying to conceive, probably dealing with infertility? This doesn't mean that they have to be conceiving naturally. Lots of clients of fertility doulas are also using IVF or IUI, which are assisted reproductive technologies, to help people conceive their babies medically. So there's fertility doulas providing information, emotional support is very important during fertility work, and advocacy support and even physical support during the fertility journey. And then we have pregnancy and birth doulas. Those are doulas who help people prepare for their birth, help them navigate their pregnancy experience by providing the same emotional support, information, helping them advocate for themselves and make informed choices. So those are the doulas that often attend births, but you actually don't have to, and I'll talk about that later in the video as well, how you can be a pregnancy and birth doula without attending births, which might be appropriate even just for certain stages of your life. And then there are postpartum doulas that provide that support during that transition into new babyhood, motherhood. We do breastfeeding support. We provide support usually in the homes of the families that we are helping. And again, information about what is normal, problem solving, advocacy support, all the same things, but in that postpartum period. And then loss doulas. And loss doulas are there for people when they're during or after experiencing a miscarriage, or it could even be before a loss, where a family knows that they're going to lose their baby because of information that they learned, in an ultrasound, when they get bad news about a diagnosis of their baby and then have to give birth, and then in that period after the loss as well. So a very important role that we're definitely not going to leave out. So some schools offer those different kinds of doulas, that training individually. So if you were going to focus just on pregnancy and birth only, you might want to choose a school that offers a standalone course teaching pregnancy and birth doula. If you want to really focus on providing postpartum support and not attend births, not help people during the pregnancy period, then you might choose a school that offers postpartum as a standalone course, and so on. So sometimes people will start with one and then add on the other as they feel it's necessary or as it fits their life. So, and this was really common when I was training to be a doula. Most people took pregnancy and birth doula training. We just called it birth doula. And then it was common for some of those doulas to then add on like loss doula support. And so they would expand their doula practice over time by taking more trainings. Now it is more common and more available to find courses that offer the whole spectrum. And that's the way that I teach doulas. So By the Moon's doula training is a full spectrum doula course. So that means in one course you learn fertility, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and loss. And the reason I created a curriculum like that is because I used to teach a birth doula course in a more conventional mainstream doula school, but I felt that one of the reasons I was really successful in my doula career was because I started with fertility support. So those fertility clients became pregnant, and then they became birth doula clients. So my birth doula business was always busy because I was a fertility support person first. And I also feel like, personally, it's my opinion that all doulas should have loss training support, because we don't know which of our clients are going to experience losses, and that continuum of care, should we end up at a birth that has a poor outcome, or just even somebody hires us to be their birth doula, but during their pregnancy they get a poor diagnosis, or they learn that their pregnancy is much more complicated than we ever want to happen, that the doula feels well prepared to continue to support clients through that journey as well. So that's why I think full spectrum doula training is where it's at. But there are many ways to approach your doula career, and that's just one opinion. So the next thing, once you've determined what kind of a doula you want to be, and what kind of do you want to do a standalone course for the individual components of doula work, or do you want to do a full spectrum doula course? Once you know that, the next step would be to think about what learning style works well for you. Almost all doula training happens online now. Some schools offer an additional in-person component. I'm not sure that there are any schools that offer only in-person training. I believe there are now. It's starting to be offered in like a community college, but that's really rare. So you'd have to look in your community to see if your local community college offers a doula training program, and that would probably be spread out over a period of 4, 6, or 9 months, something like that, where you would go into a college and go into the classroom and do your doula training that way. But most of you are going to be doing some combination of online and in-person training, or online only. And when you do online only, that means a large amount of your learning will be independent and on your own, which does require some amount of discipline. So schools that provide structure, if that's helpful for you, like a schedule of when to do certain steps of the course, maybe that's something that will really help you to succeed, as well as like a community environment. So By the Moon does that, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But before I get into the way that our school is structured, let's talk about the components that might matter to you. So do you want to do online only, or do you want to choose a school that also offers an optional in-person training? So that would be, how important is that to you? Then you want to look at what are the certification requirements. Do you have to read books? Does the school provide their own manual in addition to other required readings, or just their own manual? Does the school provide an audio option for reading so that you can listen to the text? What about video lectures where you can watch them at your own time, or possibly watch them more than once for learners who would benefit from that? Is the course offered in the language that you want? So if English is not your first language and you would prefer to learn something that is in your own language, or even maybe if it's offered in English but it might have a cultural flair that is linked kind of to your ancestry. There's doula trainings out there like that. Are you holistically minded? Do you want a doula school that approaches their doula training from that body, mind, and spirit lens? Or are you a little more conventional and you want things to be really super practical, evidence-based, and grounded? Are you a spiritual person or spiritually curious, and do you want that to kind of influence the training that you receive? Do you need that community component? Do you want to be involved in a class? Would you like there to be live online seminars? So I know this is a lot, but they're all little things that might really make a huge difference in your learning experience. Okay, so now you know what kind of a doula you want to be. You have maybe put some thought into whether in-person training is important to you or not, and whether you want to be a part of like a small school or a large school, a school that has a community element, or if you just can really rock it independent and on your own. And so once you've got those criteria, you can kind of sort through the different school options that are available to you, and let's say now you've chosen the school that is a good fit for you. Your next step in becoming a doula is completing the certification requirements. So this is the part that no matter what school you choose, it's going to require of you some discipline. Not everybody that signs up for doula training finishes their doula training. So getting a strong start is really important, and potentially working with a mentor or having a close relationship with your trainer can be helpful so that they can help to hold you accountable. By the Moon, for example, we have monthly optional online student check-ins where students from all of our courses can meet with a member of our training team and with their peers to check in and talk about the challenges, what is going really well, celebrating successes. You'll see people at different stages of the journey, and so that can be really inspiring and keep you motivated so that you keep returning to your assignments, your required readings, the recorded lectures, and things like that. So coming up with a strategy early in your doula training to help you to be successful is really important. So now you've completed your certification requirements. That may or may not include attending births, depending on the course. And so now it's time to build your business. If your doula school offers business training, even better. If not, then you'll probably want to also find a business training program, another course. It might be offered by another school. Hopefully it's a bit relative to the field that you're working in, unless you have a lot of business training experience. There's also a lot of content available on YouTube as well to help you get going. Our training always includes business building. I love teaching business as much as I love talking about birth and fertility and spirituality. And so you'll want to make sure that you have a website and you get some social media content going, and that you're networking out in your community. That's really important. It's easy now to fall into a trap of thinking that you can build your whole business just from your couch on your phone. And while there's a lot that you can do from your devices at home, it's still really important, and I really stress this, that you get out in your community and do some networking the way that we used to have to do when I started as a doula. That is timeless. And those relationships will do so much more for you than Instagram ever will, because doula work is very intimate, and it is work of relationships. It's not like, when you hire a plumber, maybe it doesn't matter that much if you like your plumber, as long as he does good plumbing and he's trustworthy. But a doula, the relationship really matters. So the more you're getting out in your community and building relationships and meeting people, other small business members or business people in your community, they're the best sources of referrals, because they know how valuable referrals are. And so you really build this network, even with people in totally unrelated fields, of people who will feed your business. If they decide that they like you when they spend some time with you at a business breakfast or other community event, they're going to remember you when they meet people with the problem that you address, whether it's infertility or somebody who's pregnant and unsure about their birth options. They're going to refer to you, and it's much more effective than all of the social media marketing you could ever do. I'll tell you that. And now I'm going to get into some of the things that I feel pretty passionate about when we are talking about the journey to becoming a successful doula. Anybody can take doula training, and anybody can complete the certification requirements if they want to. Where there's a will, there's a way. Not everyone is going to be successful, but I have been training doulas for a long time. I built my own very successful doula practice, and I have a really good sense now of the things that really help us to, it makes the difference between being a doula for 2 decades or trying this out for a year and then having to go back to, kind of a more normal day job, which we don't want for you. If you're here, you want to be the doula who can do this as long as you want to be a doula. So the first thing I'm going to say is important is adding other healing modalities. This is only going to resonate with those people who actually would use natural healing modalities. And so if this isn't for you, then it isn't for you. But if this resonates, I really recommend adding 1 or 2 other healing modalities to your doula practice, because having those additional streams of income makes really good business sense. It means you're not depending on your doula business alone to provide for you. So if you add like reflexology or an energy healing practice to your doula practice, then the reflexology business, you'll find people in your community who are looking for that, and that will feed your doula business, because people who come for reflexology, they might know somebody who's pregnant, or maybe somebody, they wanted reflexology while they were trying to get pregnant, and then they hire you to be their doula once they become pregnant. So these things really fit together really well. So you get those additional streams of income, but also you are adding more to what you can offer to the same client. So you're meeting more needs of the same person, which also makes good business sense as a doula. It means you don't have to refer your clients away to someone else for all of the things. There are some things that I always refer my clients to still, chiropractic care, pelvic floor physio, for example, but I am a doula who has always offered reflexology and Reiki, and so my doula clients then come for those treatments as well when they need them. So if they're experiencing back pain, if they have a breech baby, those kinds of things, and they can book a session with me, and so I'm meeting more of their needs. Another thing that I really believe has contributed to my success and the success of other doulas that I've trained is continuously investing in my own healing. Doula work is space holding work. It's about co-regulation. It's about meeting people where they're at, and the kinds of transformations that we are with people on, fertility journeys, birth, that transition into motherhood, loss experiences. These are all gateway experiences. These are all doorways from one version of self into another version of self. And so people change through these experiences. It's big work. I remember when I was thinking about becoming a doula and I imagined myself holding the glass of water with the bendy straw for someone in between contractions. And that felt, if I'm honest, it felt a little like, I don't know if that's enough. And it was just my own idea about what a doula was. But we are so much more than that, and I had no idea. I love being present for people, being present with people to witness and hold space for these massive transitions that they go through, to see them really birthing new versions of themselves. And so when we are involved in that kind of work, I feel like it is really important that we are always doing that work ourselves, that we are continuously showing up as the most evolved and healed version of ourselves that we can be. That doesn't mean that we don't have baggage. It doesn't mean that we've healed from every trauma we've ever experienced. I don't think that's even possible. It means that we're walking our talk, that as we hold space for our clients to grow and evolve into more beautiful and amazing versions of themselves, that we are also doing that for ourselves as well. So I invest in the kinds of things that my clients invest in. I go for reflexology sessions. I go for counseling. I go for Reiki sessions. You might, want to go on retreats and things like that. It doesn't have to be anything huge and elaborate. It's just continuous. It's an inner journey of self-reflection. It could be the kinds of books that you read or listen to, the kinds of content that you consume on YouTube, for example. But I really feel like that the more I work on myself, the more I have thrived as a doula. I personally believe that community is a really important factor in doula success. It's being an entrepreneur, like we call it like solopreneur, you are like a one-person business. It can be really lonely. And I'm an introvert. I love my own company. I don't need to be around people all the time. But there's a difference between being continuously surrounded by people, like in some kinds of jobs, and always being alone. So if you can find community, whether it's like within your own community, so it might be other members in complementary kinds of modalities. So you might be going to business networking groups for women and things like that, or a doula group in your community, or it might be an online community where you feel really safe, where you can process things with other people, share ideas, be inspired, and things like that. I think community is a really important part too. It keeps us going. There's times in building a doula business where you feel like you're just watering the garden and you don't get to see anything growing yet. You've planted the seeds, you've tilled the soil, planted the seeds, you're putting water on it, and you're watching for something to grow. Or you might be in between seasons where you've had waves of busyness and then you're going through a little bit of a lull in your business, and having that community to connect with during those times can be really supportive and help you through those kinds of transitions in your own business as well. We grow farther together. And for me, again, this isn't going to be for everyone, but for me, spirituality is a really big part of my doula business and the way that I doula. It doesn't mean that my clients have to be spiritual. I just personally see these life transitions as spiritual in nature as they are. And my spiritual perspective certainly helps me to meet people wherever they're at, whether they're religious or not religious or spiritual, to be able to view the nervous system and our energy exchange with other people from that lens, to see how the feminine and masculine energy influences people's fertility journeys, for example, or their relationship with motherhood. For me, that has really helped me to provide like a broader kind of spectrum of support by being able to like see like the zoomed out kind of view of what is going on with the people that I'm supporting. But spirituality also is like a big part of how I've built my business. I love the technology and the practical business things, you know, making a business card or building your website or writing blog content and things like that are really tangible things. But I have also grown my business through manifestation practices, balancing, you know, building my business in that sort of masculine way, and then also surrendering and trusting and having faith and being open to receive and having that balance as well. So that's also, I give a lot of credit on my doula journey to my spiritual perspective as well. And I love passing that on in our By the Moon community too. So if that resonates with you, if you would love to see a little bit of manifestation weaved into your how to build a website or how to manifest abundance in your doula business, then, you know, that might be something that you find as a priority when you're choosing your path. Or perhaps you'll have your own way to kind of tap into spirituality and weave that into a more conventional doula training school, for example. Okay, so I think you've gotten a little taste of the Michelle flair that I add to the doula journey, but let's talk a little bit about By the Moon so that you understand the school that I've created and the community that I've built that maybe you would feel would be a good match for you, that you would like to be a part of. By the Moon is a small school. I have a relationship with each of our students, but I am supported by a training team who also supports our students. And we are a holistic school, so we really do view the person as the body, mind, and spirit. So that means we want to talk about like evidence-based information and that real world kind of, you know, stages of labor and the benefits and risks of an epidural, for example. While also looking at in addition to what are the physical manifestations of a condition like endometriosis, what is the energetic understanding or potential root cause from an emotional or trauma experience kind of perspective. And so we really view people that way, that you can have physical symptoms and that things like nutrition are really important, but also who is the person and what is their story and how is that a part of what they're experiencing and how does it influence maybe the kind of support that they need. So we are holistic, we are definitely spiritual in the ways that I've already talked about. Community is a huge part of By the Moon. It doesn't mean that you have to participate in community, but that community is available. And some of our students use community in different seasons of their journey. So we see them a lot sometimes during their training and that early business building, and then maybe they don't need us so much, or maybe they miss us and then kind of come back. And so that's always an option. We come together in online groups, online seminars. There's lots of bonus seminars that we offer for our members to attend, online student check-ins, study groups, and those kinds of things, as well as live online seminars are a big part of our doula training and holistic reproductive practitioner training as well. Not so many that it makes the training inflexible, but enough that you feel like you're a part of a group and you get to know those people in the group. And those bonds are really beautiful to see as well. And we offer our training on the full spectrum kind of doula training. I don't offer standalone just birth doula training, for example. All of our students do fertility all the way through loss. And if you choose the holistic reproductive practitioner path, that means you're getting that fertility, birth, postpartum, and loss training, as well as full reflexology certification and Reiki levels 1 and 2, all in one program. So we combine the steps. You're kind of completing all 3 courses at once. so that you can have that multi-modality practice. So you can choose to take holistic full spectrum doula training on its own and go forward as a doula, or the holistic reproductive practitioner path and have that multi-modality, multi-streams of income kind of business plan ahead of you. All of our training always includes building your holistic business, which is a standalone course that teaches you how to build your website, how to understand search engine optimization, how to do marketing, community networking, branding, income and expenses and taxes and all of those kinds of things, all in one course. You don't have to complete the business course. It's just made available for you so that you can use as little or as much of it as you need to be successful. So who thrives at By the Moon? Honestly, everyone is welcome, but it's definitely for those people who are open-minded and at least spiritually curious, because spirituality it's woven into everything, and holistically minded, so really resonating with that idea that we are body, mind, and spirit. You can't really separate those things, that everything is influenced by everything else. And wanting a small school, it's definitely for those people who would benefit from being a part of a community, although it's not mandatory. You can be as independent as you want to be. And it's for people who want that depth and who are also inspired to grow and heal and work on themselves. We are continuously looking in the mirror, going inside, and healing ourselves. Our mantra at By the Moon is actually, we can only take others as far as we've come. And I really believe in that as a philosophy, and that to be able to hold space for more and more people, we need to continuously be expanding our own capacity, expanding ourselves, so that we can, be a guide and a mentor and be inspiring for others who are on healing journeys or who are going through life's transitions. Thank you so much for all of your attention, for this energetic exchange. I'm really grateful. If this really landed and you would like to know more about By the Moon training, you can attend any of our free online seminars at bythemoon.ca. Is where you'll see a calendar of events, and you can attend. There's a lot there that's always offered for free, whether you want to become a student or not. And you can also look for an upcoming info session where you can meet with me in a small group and ask questions and learn more about our doula training program. But whatever path you choose, I hope you find one that lights you up. I wish for you so much abundance, so much success. It's a really rewarding and fulfilling career. It is definitely a calling, and so you're probably like me. If you've come this far in this video, it's probably something's calling your soul to this work, and that's worth listening to. And it is definitely possible to meet lots of clients and find success. And so that is my wish for you. Have a wonderful day.